Joining me now, CEO and investing diva and author of Cryptocurrency Investing for Dummies, Kiana Daniel. Kiana, a lot of folks are making pretty strong projections about where Bitcoin goes, including $100,000 in 5 years. Is this your prediction?
So, hi, Charles. So this is a prediction of so many Bitcoin activists, including myself. And the reason mainly comes down to supply and demand, because Bitcoin, there's ever only going to be 21 million Bitcoins. 4 million of it has already been lost by people who lost their wallet 10 years ago. So just because of supply and demand, this is pure math. We could see it going higher and higher. And just from a price action point of view as well, Bitcoin does have a tendency to add zeros to its price. So back around 2011, it was $10. It took about 4 years to go from 1,000 to 10,000 in 2017. So doubling that time frame for maturation could get priced towards $100,000.
All right, so of course that math was always built into the equation. I was always concerned about it. I think others were, but now it's obvious that there's greater acceptance. In fact, major news from PayPal, others accepting Bitcoin. How important is that, and how much has that really been the reason, one of the reasons it's taking off again?
100%. So it all comes back down to the definition of money. So the definition of money has to have a few characteristics. For example, enough people must have it, merchants must accept it, and the society must trust that it's valuable enough and that it will remain valuable. So PayPal getting behind crypto is absolutely huge for people actually getting the brand image that, okay, Bitcoin is not that thing that dropped and crashed in 2017. It's something that is reliable. Maybe there was a hype back in 2017, but it could in fact be something that more merchants and internationally can accept it, and people can actually use it for their payments.
Although, how many people are using it for transactions more as an investment? If it's placing gold and people are storing it away as a store of value, to your point, if it could go to 100,000 in 5 years, there's no way I'm going to buy Christmas gifts with it.
100%. So Bitcoin definitely has become the definition of gold 2.0. And I believe it's actually more valuable than gold, because we never know how much more gold we can find under the sea or in an asteroid. But Bitcoin, there's always going to be just this much, 21 million. And the matter of the fact is that, yes, right now there is a hype around it. I do think, and I'm seeing in the cryptocurrency industry, that people are planning to sell a little bit of it right now once it hits the resistance level of $20,000. Right. So we could see a pullback for sure. But Bitcoin definitely is volatile. So if you're just getting in it because we just said, oh, 100,000 prediction, please don't buy just because we said this. We don't want another repetition of 2017. But yeah, long term, right. That is something that we could definitely see.
Yeah, I love the caveat in the morning. I mean, obviously, it's been extraordinarily volatile. I've got just less than a minute, but I do want your thoughts on the notion. We saw a lot of global governments push back on cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin, and now some are creating their own versions, including China. Does that take away from the value or the growth potential of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency?
In my opinion, absolutely not. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. It is not backed by any government. Even if governments say, hey, Bitcoin is banned, who are they going to ban? Like, who are they going to ban? It's not that there is a Bitcoin customer service they can, call up. It's a decentralized cryptocurrency. It's the only decentralized, purely decentralized cryptocurrency out there.
Let's take a closer look now at the yellow metal, up around 6% since the Fed rate hike. I know you don't forecast prices, but where do you feel you fall on the spectrum as to where you see gold headed? Are you more conservative, or are you in that $10,000 gold camp?
Oh, I'll never sell my gold. It's going to be passed on for generations. So I don't ever sell gold. And I've been collecting it since, like I said, 72, when it was illegal for Americans to own gold. Just let me tell you where I'm at with money right now because of Bitcoin. I'm writing a new book. It's going to be an online book, and people can read it for free. But the last couple of chapters are, I'm going to solicit questions. But I've been a gold bug, like I said, since 72. And the way I see the world today with Bitcoin is that there's three kinds of money. There's God's money, which is gold and silver. Again, atomic number 79 and 47. Then there's government money called fiat money or currencies, which is the dollar, the euro, the yen, right, the peso. And the third type of money now is cyber money, which Bitcoin and Ethereum and those guys are the most famous. So when I'm writing this book called Fake, and it'll be online soon, it's really about what's real. You know, is money fake or is it real? And I think, so the choice, when I talk to people, I said, what do you think will be here in 2040, approximately 22 years from now? Will gold still be here? Well, it's been here since eternity.
Well,
will the dollar be here?
Right.
I don't think so.
and,
And will blockchain be here? I think so. So that's really the way I look at the world of money and currencies,
right.
is what's going to be here in 22 years.
So, Robert, are you one of the rare few that actually likes Bitcoin and gold at the same time?
Yeah, I own Bitcoin, but I own 5. It was expensive because I was late. But I have Bitcoin in a little cage like a pet, you know, like 5 little rabbits. And I'm just watching my little Bitcoins. And I own Ethereum. But I also have dollars, and I also have gold and silver. I'm just kind of watching the whole thing because I'm not one of these guys who likes to discuss it. I just would rather just observe it.
Now we have a major event happening in Bitcoin. Some would argue the greatest event for the cryptocurrency, the halving happening in May. Can you shed some light on what you expect to happen to price here in May?
Yeah, so I've been writing about this now for almost a year, really since last May or June. Saying, look, we're headed into an environment where the Fed was going to have to cut interest rates to near zero or zero. They've obviously done that. We've been saying that they're going to have to generate lots of quantitative easing. They're obviously doing that on a historic level. And those two things were to coincide at the same time or near the same time as the Bitcoin halving, which is the incoming daily supply gets cut in half from 1,800 Bitcoin a day to 900. Now, if you go back to 2008, 2009, remember gold drew down 30% in 2008 during the liquidity crisis. But coming out of that, when quantitative easing was announced, et cetera, from 2009 to 2011, we saw a massive increase in price, about 3x, and gold eventually hit an all-time high. Now, imagine in 2009, 2010, and into 11, 50% of the gold miners basically shut off their operations. So 50% of the incoming daily supply just disappeared. It would take a scarce asset, make it scarcer right at a time when all these investors are running to it, and the value of gold would have gone higher. That's essentially what I think is about to happen here. Everyone's going to look for inflation hedge assets, whether it's Bitcoin or gold. As they do that, you're going to get the Bitcoin halving. 50% of the daily incoming supply gets taken away. And so you're taking a scarce asset, making it scarcer right at the moment that everyone wants it in their portfolio. And therefore, I think that it provides this rocket fuel kind of for the future outlook of Bitcoin.
But your forecast is anywhere between 20,000 to 100,000. Right now, we're sitting a little over 6,000. So a pretty wide range there, Anthony.
Yeah, so I actually believe, and I've kind of gone out publicly on record and saying, I believe Bitcoin will hit $100,000 by the end of December 2021, so a little over 18 months from now. The reason why I talk about 20,000 as kind of a barrier is in the absolute worst case scenario, if you're the biggest bear for Bitcoin, one of the decisions you have to make on the lower end of that bound is, do you think Bitcoin will make a new all-time high or not ever, right? And the all-time high being 20,000, it was there for just a couple of hours, really. But if you don't think Bitcoin will never make another all-time high, then it'll never see $20,000 again. But if you believe at least that would happen, that we haven't seen the all-time high ever for Bitcoin, then you're talking about at least eclipsing 20,000. My personal view, though, is that we'll see Bitcoin hit $100,000 before the end of December 2021, though.
Citibank analyst has just released a report that makes Tim Draper look like Nouriel Roubini. They say Bitcoin could pass $300,000 by December of 2021. Let's find out the details. Make sure you watch the whole video today. This is one you don't want to miss. And thank you, Yahoo Finance, for covering this. A senior analyst at a US-based financial giant, Citibank, has penned a report drawing on similarities between 1970s gold market and Bitcoin. The whole of Bitcoin's existence has been characterized by major price swings, he says, exactly the kind of thing that sustains a long-term trend. And by the way, this report solely was intended to go out to the bank's institutional clients. Let's move over to Cointelegraph to find out some of the details on this report. According to the report, Notably, the three major bullish periods of Bitcoin so far have been increasing in length. Initially, there was a 10-month run in 2010 and 2011, followed by a 2-year run from 2011 to 2013, and finally a 3-year run covering 2015 and 2017. So Citibank is saying that the cycles are lengthening. Maybe they've been watching Into the Cryptoverse, right? Now, conversely, Fitzpatrick, the analyst who reported this, posits that the period of correction following the last two bull runs has remained at a stable 12-month time period. This, according to the analyst, places us squarely in the middle of a bull run started in early 2019 and potentially set to run for 4 years until 2022. Until 2022. So Fitzpatrick said in the report he's predicting a 318,000 Bitcoin price by end of 2021, but he says that this bull run could run until late 2022. Wow. Citibank is saying this. So while conceding that these figures may be highly improbable, they point out that this would only be a low to high rally of about 102 times, the weakest rally so far in percentage terms, at a point where the arguments in favor of Bitcoin could well be at their most persuasive ever. So Citibank just casually releasing a report saying that Bitcoin could 20x by the end of next year and continue its bull run a year after that. Incredibly bullish, right? Is that really a 20x, by the way? Is that really a 20x? Well, $318,000 divided by $16,000 is almost a 20x. I mean, is Bitcoin even at $16,000? Oh my God, look at this rally today. Bitcoin at $16,736. Bitcoin is going on a run. Do you have enough Bitcoin? Guys, what do you think about all this stuff? Let me know in the comments below.
Too many people in our space, they have this halving in mind, and they have this date that something will happen when the halving happens on May the 11th, that, you know, magically something will happen. And look, historically, nothing happens at this date. Nothing really happens except the supply, newly produced supply cutting by 50%. So that is one expectation I want to set very straight. Like the day after we wake up during the halving, probably nothing will happen. Probably nothing significant will happen. Why is it so? And most importantly, why it's important to discuss? Because people getting too excited that they buy into the halving, they expect something to happen. Obviously, they're gonna be disappointed. Obviously, many of them are waiting for May 11 to arrive so that their bags can pump, so that they can sell for a profit. They wouldn't even be here. Many people wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the halving. I mean, this is completely wrong mindset they have, but it's true. I know many people who are like, okay, I have bought now and as soon as the halving, so I'm gonna sell right after the halving. So what does it mean? It means that we have probably a lot of disappointment coming up the days after the halving. And this is the people who really haven't studied a lot. They don't know exactly how halving works out. They haven't even checked previous halvings in regards to the price and in regards to the fact that nothing really happens the day after. You gotta look a bit more into the future, but the day after nothing happens. So therefore, my expectation is that right after the halving, we might see sell pressure. Also, you understand that whales and really this sophisticated, really sophisticated investors, they will probably use the halving as a liquidity event, because many people are buying in. They think that it's gonna pump tomorrow. All of the retail that don't know anything about Bitcoin, they just heard about the halving, they're gonna buy in. These whales see an opportunity to take profit because, I mean, otherwise it's very difficult for a big whale to take profit. Why? Because while he's selling, he's pushing down the price. He has a lot of slippage. But when you sell into demand, when you sell into a whole liquidity event where a lot of retail is trying to get in, well, then the price doesn't crash as much. So it's another important thing to realize, that probably whales will be trading against retail during the halving because they see an amazing opportunity to take some profit. Otherwise, it would be difficult. Otherwise, they really have to plan to sell a bit at a time, to really spread out their sell orders across different markets and exchanges in order to not crash the price too much. So that's key. That's very important. Now, could we go to 3K as Arthur Hayes says? Look, it's short term, Bitcoin can do anything. I mean, of course we could go to 3K. We could also go to 10K and also to 15. It's short term, guys. Short term, anything can happen.
I do actually think 5 years from now, we'll see a distinct move towards mobile payments, but not because you've got point of sale that's NFC enabled or QR enabled. I think it's going to be a mishmash of point of sale technologies out there, but because retailers are fundamentally seeing that mobile is going to, and this knowing your customer is going to disrupt what is a traditional sort of in-store experience. Last holiday period, Black Friday weekend, for the first time ever, more people shopped online than in store. And more people did it on their mobile phone than did it on desktop or pads.
Yeah.
And so retailers are saying to themselves, we have to be able to use that mobile phone to our advantage. Not so you don't come into a store, pay cash, and walk out, and I don't even know who you are. Like I try and give you a punch card for loyalty, and like I can't communicate with you, and I don't really know you when you're coming in. I can't give you personalized offers. And writing these applications, and we'll power those applications for them, to be able to create a value proposition change that convinces you to use their app when you're in their store, so that you get benefits as a result of that, and they can have a much more intimate connection with you than they do today, is crucial as they think about the evolution of the future. And so I think the more retailers and merchants that write those value props, and we're seeing it, gas stations do it. We power Shell in the UK. Believe it or not, gas stations are becoming digital because it's easier for the consumer. The rewards come on, you can communicate, you get your receipt, the miles that you've used, everything online. Dunkin' Donut is doing it. Obviously, Starbucks is the most famous example of it. McDonald's is moving heavy into it. Subway is moving into it. We're powering a lot of those experiences, and people want to use that app because they get value. And as part of that value, they're either paying in the app, like Uber does right now, where payments almost disappears as part of it, right? You don't even pay when you get out of that. We power all of that Uber experience as well. So I think you're going to see a move as value propositions start to propagate out in the marketplace.
PayPal cashing in on the crypto craze, a payment company announcing a new feature that will allow users to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. The news sending Bitcoin soaring more than 7% to its highest level of the year. And our next guest is a crypto pro who says PayPal just gave a major stamp of approval for the entire crypto space. Joining us now is CoinShares Chief Strategy Officer Meltem Demirors. Meltem, great to see you. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I feel like Bitcoin's exciting again, so here we are. It's great to be back.
In fact, we have the Bitcoin bug back up in the corner because it's gotten so exciting now. Why do you think this is a major move for PayPal? I mean, we thought that it would be a major thing when Square did it. We thought it would be a major thing when so many other companies have done similar moves, allowing their customers to have Bitcoin wallets.
Yeah, so look, Square has been really exciting. A number of different fintechs, including Revolut, SoFi, Robinhood, also offer crypto. But what's really exciting here is Venmo, which is owned by PayPal, has 300 million active users. They're millennials. They're all the target audience for Bitcoin. They're the types of investors who are interested in holding Bitcoin. So in terms of retail exposure to digital currencies, PayPal is the largest distribution channel available in the United States, and their willingness to include cryptocurrency in their offering is phenomenally exciting. It's going to be a huge on-ramp for consumers.
In terms of merchants, there are 26 million merchants on PayPal. What if only a very small fraction of them accept Bitcoin or any of the other coins that a consumer can buy, sell, or hold through PayPal? Does that make a difference, Meltem? Are we at a point where it needs to be more widely accepted?
No, not really. Look, the important thing to remember is in this initial iteration of this offering, it's really going to be a walled garden, meaning that cryptocurrencies are not going to leave the PayPal environment. So nobody is bringing in crypto from outside the PayPal environment. It's sort of an internal ecosystem. And eventually, I think this is paving the way for PayPal launching its own cryptocurrency. If you recall, PayPal was part of the initial Facebook Libra consortium. They dropped out this time last year, actually. And so I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 6 to 12 months, we see PayPal launching its own digital currency, similar to a digital dollar that we see in many payments companies in the Asia Pacific region in particular.
Karen, do you have a question?
Yeah, thanks for being on. Do you think that things like this PayPal announcement are the next leg of the Bitcoin story? Or do you think that it's something like the U.S. currency, devaluation of the U.S. currency or fiat currencies, which is sort of a bigger macro story?
Yeah, so at CoinShares, we now manage $1 billion in crypto assets under management. And largely what we've seen is institutions are not really yet ready to engage with Bitcoin. Many of them are interested, they're learning, but until someone takes the first step, they're not going to be the first to move and start allocating to Bitcoin or launching Bitcoin products. So in the interim, I think the first step we have is corporates embracing Bitcoin as a new revenue center. Obviously, 3% of Square's gross profit is now driven by crypto sales on Cash App. That's really promising. Other corporates have added Bitcoin to their balance sheets. Square announced they put 0.5% of their corporate cash into Bitcoin. So I think in the near term, a lot of what we're seeing is those initial bridges between Bitcoin and the broader payments ecosystem being built out. And over time, I do think we'll see more meaningful engagement from other financial institutions who see a hugely lucrative opportunity by offering crypto products and services, not only to retail consumers and speculative traders, but also to institutions who want to hold it long term and who are buying into the store value narrative, particularly in the current zero interest rate environment.
Meltem, great to see you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Meltem Demirors of CoinShares. Dan Nathan, importance for PayPal versus the importance for crypto here.
Yeah, I think it's more, I think she did a great job describing it. I think the store of value is the reason, I guess, why you own Bitcoin right here. So I think it's more important to Bitcoin. She makes a great point about the Venmo and the 300 million active users as being a great on-ramp for those people to get into crypto. I just don't know the reason for them to get into it right now, other than the investment store of value reason. And I think you asked the question, Mel, because there just aren't the use cases right now. So to me, yes, great opportunity to be set up. Should Bitcoin be up $1,000 on this? I'm not sure. It's just not my bag right now. But to me, it's a good story for PayPal, I guess.
Karen, just quickly, should it be up $1,000 off of this? I mean, it is kind of your bag, at least right now.
Yeah. No, I agree with Dan. Sadly, I agree with Dan. That seemed like quite a reaction for, it's nice news. I don't think it's, 1,000 is a lot.